Sincere congratulations if you've managed to make it up to this 4th edition that I'm doing today. We started this edition 3 days ago, and this is the 4th edition, and I promise that I'm going to share with you 10 business hustles that you can do on the side apart from your 8 to 5 job. So welcome back to this channel, and let's get ready for this edition. You all agree with me that times are difficult. Times are difficult, and that is why I'm doing all the research necessary to bring you all that you need to find side hustles that can make times easier for you. So around me, you've guessed right, we are going to do an egg side hustle. This is something that has been tried and tested, and by the time I present it to you, trust me that it is something that will bring you something to your pocket at the end of the day. And what's the best part about it? It's that you do not have to do it yourself, because I know that you are someone who is going to work. But that said and done, we also cater for people who are going to do this job on a daily basis. You know, you can just live on selling eggs alone. Selling eggs alone. You do not have to rent a shop somewhere. You do not have to have a huge capital before you start running such a hustle. Just stick around so that you get to hear exactly what you need to do so that you remain afloat. And also consider being an egg supplier so that it is something that you do every day to earn a source of living. If you're someone who's just joined the channel today, very welcome. You're very welcome, and I'm grateful that you are here. I know that what makes you click on this video is that you'd like to learn something. And I'm very sure that the many eggs that you've seen on the thumbnail have been an attraction to you. That is the same way if you display such kind of eggs somewhere in a busy market or on a very busy street, you will be able to attract customers to your stand. And what's the best part about it is that you do not have to have a shop. So number one, without wasting much time, what do you need to start such kind of a hustle? I've made it clear that this is something that you can run on a daily basis, or it is something that you can delegate to other people, not just one station. You will come to realize that by the end of this video, you will learn that you can delegate up to 5 people to run this kind of a hustle for you, so that you get to tally what they've done in the course of the day, in the evening, after you come back from your daily hustle that probably is running from 8 or 9 for some people to 5 p.m. So what do you need to start? What you need to start is very straightforward. First of all, you need empty crates. And crates come in different varieties. Of those ones that I'm going to mention and show you are just 2 types. There's one that is very hardy, and there's another type that wears out very fast. So what you need for this kind of a hustle is to find types of crates that will last for longer. And these ones, usually you'll find them at a price ranging between 20 shillings to 30 shillings, depending on how many crates you buy. For example, this type of crate you see here, this is the hardy type. It is fairly hardy. Of course, we have other types in the market, but I'm going to talk about these ones that are made out of paper. I believe this is paper mache, if I'm not wrong. Yes. So you need this hardy type of the paper mache variety. These ones, if you buy in bulk, they come in packages of 100, and you'll get them at 25 shillings each. But if you are able to get the distributors, you may get it even at a better bargain of, let's say, 20 Kenyan shillings. So this is what you need. There is a different variety also that is available. And if you are hard pressed for capital, then you can consider this other type. This other variety is quite weak. It wears out very fast. And of course, most of the time, if you put a lot of trays, it sort of blanches at the bottom. So I'll not recommend this one. But if you're hard pressed for capital, then you can just start with these ones for a start. And then as you continue with your hustle, you may plan to get the other variety. These ones come for about 10 to 15 shillings, depending on where you get them. So now we have our crates, and on the minimum, I'd advise that you get at least 50 crates for that matter. But if you have to get a higher number, if you have enough money, then you can go for 100. Of course, you get the hardy type at I told you 25 shillings for 100, and even lower if you get the right distributors. Number 2, which is the main item that you need, of course, is the eggs. Once you get the crates, now it is time to look for a good distributor who will sell you eggs. Personally, where I get my eggs right now, I get them at a very good bargain, because considering the recent fluctuations of egg prices in our country, Kenya, I get them at 425 shillings per crate. Once you get into the market, you'll be able to know how to juggle around with these things. I've attached a clip where you can see how I transport my eggs from the distributor to the shop. Then of course you need a table. You need a table, a very simple table that you can get made from a carpenter, and it does not have to cost you anything much. You can do a similar table that I see people use in their kitchens, especially in bed sitters. You find someone with a very simple table with sort of a bench somewhere there where you can put some of your items, and it is just straightforward, a very simple table so that you'll use to put your eggs on display. Aside from that, you also need packaging material, and with me here are some of the packaging materials that you can use to put your eggs inside once you start selling to the customer. So we have this type here. This one is classified as half. You realize that these packages come in different sizes. So we have this one is size 1, there's size a half, this is size 2, and they look like this. This is how they look like. There are quite a number in the market depending on where you are. Just research, walk around, be ready to research and research so that you find the best for your purpose. Then now you can use these ones to wrap the eggs once your customers start flowing in. This other one here is what we call a size 2 packaging bag. It is quite bigger than the other one, and you will use this one to put in eggs for people who buy at least 8 going forward. This one here is smaller, so you can put in at most 6 eggs. Four, 5, 6. You can see 6 eggs fit in here very well, and at the same time you are able to fold it up here. And if you have a stapler, you can staple, or if you have sellotape, you can put it here so that the eggs reach home safely. This other packaging I was talking about accommodates from 8 up to 12 or even 15 eggs at a time. So depending on how many your client is buying, you are able to wrap accordingly so that it is well packaged and the client feels confident that these eggs will reach their destination safely. Aside from that, surrounding the packaging idea, it is a good idea to have this kind of bags hanging in somewhere where you are selling, you have your egg stand. These ones, because sometimes you'll find someone buying these ones and they have quite a number of things to carry, and as you know, eggs are fragile, so you do not want your client to lose your eggs before they get home, and that is why you have to have such kind of carrier bags, so that if they want, you can package them inside. So they come in different varieties and sizes. As you can see, we have this one is a bigger size. These ones are very common in Kenya because actually we had previously we used to use paper bags like these ones, polythene bags, but then they got banned. So this is what is acceptable in Kenya, and try as much as possible to avoid these ones, because once you are caught with them with the relevant authorities, you'll find yourself in a lot of problems that are actually avoidable. So just stay on the right side of the law and spend quite some, but be safe so that your hustle continues. You do not have time to be arrested, or one of your workers or your assistants get arrested, and then you have to part with a lot of money to release them from the cell. So there's this type, which I suggest you just hang it somewhere where you have your hustle on, so that whoever needs it can buy. So these ones usually go for 10 shillings each, and this other type goes for 20 shillings each. And then there's this other type here that can carry quite a few eggs, say 2 or 3. So if you have someone buying 2 or 3 eggs, you can put them in here. It is made of soft material just like this other one, but it is smaller, just for putting in the eggs. So you can see it carries 3 eggs comfortably, and it looks clean. Being that it is white, it is something that will actually show that if there was any on it. So this one gives you an extra point with your client. Most people want to wrap eggs in very uncategorical ways, but if you wrap your eggs in this manner, tell me if you'll not attract clients to your stand. So these are some of the things that will make your hustle stand out, and at the end of the day, you'll be able to sell. Selling is not just a matter of having products and presenting them to the clients. It depends how well are you presenting these clients, and also, of course, you also have to have a good attitude. Many people go to the streets, they want to hustle. You know, someone tells you, Cynthia, tell me, what hustle can I do? Then you share with them and tell them, you know, you can do this or this. Then someone carries their things and goes to the streets. Day 1, week 2, week 3, feedback, I'm not selling anything. I don't think this was a good idea in the first place. What measures are you putting in place so that you make your hustle stand out? Of course, you have to have a good attitude. You have to be a cheerful person, whether you like it or not. You cannot have a bad attitude and then you expect to attract customers to your stand. You cannot be a person with a sad demeanor, you know, someone who is quite unapproachable. People will just pass, because this is not a hustle that is very rare. It is a very common hustle. Even as I sit here and encourage you that it is one of the hustles you can undertake, you will find many other people with similar stands in the market. And that is why I wanted to talk about the location, because where you take your hustle is very important. You have to be somewhere where it is accessible and very busy, where people on foot usually pass. Those are your number 1 target clients, so that someone picks eggs very fast. And mostly you are targeting impulse buyers plus intentional buyers. You know, impulse buyers are people who have no idea what they are going to make for supper, for example, or breakfast in their homes. And then they happen to see eggs, and they happen to see the carrier bags are there. You know, it is very convenient. So someone decides they can just pick eggs on their way home and they buy. And there are people who will be impressed with the first time that they come to you, and they'll keep coming, so that someone leaves their home and comes specifically to your stand because of the kind of service they had, because of the kind of packaging you had, because of how you addressed them, you know, all those things. So that is a tip that you need to consider once you decide you want to start this kind of a hustle. And then As I started this video, I mentioned that you do not have to hire or rent space. You only have to have a chair like this one so that you are comfortable and you serve your clients in a comfortable way. Then you need to have a table, a small table. The one I'm using here is very small. I don't know if it is visible. It is actually 2 feet by 2 feet, and it fits the eggs because the crate of eggs is being arranged vertically. Assuming we had 10 crates of eggs, they will fit on this table very comfortably. So you don't need a big table. And those are the tools of trade that you need basically. The eggs themselves, you need a table, you need packaging bags, and a chair for yourself, which is not even mandatory. I've seen some people come with stamps, tree stamps that they get from somewhere, from these hardwares. There are some kind of stamps that are usually not meant for timber. I've seen people put these stamps somewhere in the market where they just go and report there. And then if you do not have a table, you put your eggs on top of the stamp, then yourself you just survive one way or the other. But if you have the capital in your hands, then of course you can do it in a very systematic manner so that you have all these things on board before you start. So let us look at the profit margins. How much money do you expect to make from such kind of a hustle? Assuming you have at your disposal 25,000 Kenyan shillings. I'm moving upwards from the hustles that required 500 shillings to maybe less than 2,000 shillings. And now we are addressing hustles that you can actually start with up to 25,000 Kenyan shillings. Because we want to accommodate everyone in this channel. There are people who have quite some capital. There are people who have very little capital, but there's always something that you can do. Let not the amount of capital that you have stop you from starting something that can help you buffer such hard economic times. Just be open-minded and don't have a fixed mind. Don't have a fixed mind over a certain amount of capital that you need before you start. There is never a perfect amount of money that you need to start. That is what I've learned in this field. And if it is anything to go by, I'm someone who's tried a number of hustles, and I hope that gives me the credibility to sit here and tell you that you can start something even without capital, depending on the kind of idea that you're talking about. So without losing focus, let's go back to the egg idea. So how much profit are we looking at? Currently, I've discovered a distributor who is selling eggs at 410 shillings per crate. Previously, I had someone who was selling it at 425 shillings. The only difference is that now, being that the demand is very high on this one who's selling a crate at 410 shillings, finding the eggs is not easy. You have to book for maybe 2 or 3 days earlier, and there's no guarantee that I'm going to get it. So I do not really focus on the 410 shillings supplier. What I do is that I focus on the 425 Kenyan shillings supplier because they are consistent, they are available at all times. And then I plan my profits with this kind of a distributor. So working with 25,000 Kenyan shillings, you are able to procure 50 crates of eggs at a time. And you do not have to keep them in one station. The kind of idea that you will have to undertake once you consider this kind of a hustle is that you need to find credible people, at least 5, so that you put them strategically in a market center at different locations. And these people, either they spend the whole day there or they only come in the evenings. Market centers are usually very busy in the evening towards night. So this is a hustle that you talk to a credible person and discuss with them an amount of commission that you're going to give them if they work for about 4 hours every evening, every day in the week, so that they do their own things during the day, and in the evening they avail themselves at the station. So your 50 crates of eggs, you are going to distribute to 5 people in such a way that everyone has 10 crates, and then they set up at strategic locations in the market. So everyone has 10 eggs for a start, and in case someone runs out of them, they are free to pick from the other party. So if you do it this way, it means that there's a very high chance that you can clear. Initially, of course, when you start, people will be skeptical about who is this new vendor? Who is he? Why is he having a similar hustle to the one we have? People can get into your business here, but you remain firm, you remain consistent, and you remain, all those things that we've discussed earlier about a business, how you can make it stand out. with time, you'll realize that clients get more used to you. Probably he's serving them even faster. You know, one thing I've realized with clients is that they do not like waiting. They don't like waiting at all. Whether there are 5 of them and they see clearly that you are the only person, you know, attending to them. Clients hate waiting. Customers hate waiting. So if you can work against that, work against keeping customers waiting for too long. Identify someone who needs 4. Make your hands. Over time, this person will realize that they can handle many clients very fast. Then you'll realize that with time, you are able to clear 50 crates in a day, because you are not serving clients from just one stall. You have 5 stalls, 50 crates of eggs. So if you are able to get your eggs at a price similar to the one I'm getting mine at the moment, let's say 425 shillings, and the selling price currently stands at 3 eggs at 50 Kenyan shillings. That means you are selling your crate of eggs at 500 shillings. So you are making 75 shillings profit per crate. And we are assuming that you'll get to a level that you are able to sell 50 crates in a day if you use the strategy that I've just shared with you. This means that you are making 75 shillings per tray and you're selling 50 crates. That means you are making 3,750 shillings in a day. And then depending on how much commission you've decided you're going to give these people, even if you're going to give them 200 shillings per day so that you motivate them, still you are able to remain with a good. Currently, even making 1,000 shillings from a business is not easy. It is not easy. So if you can get something that you're getting even 3,000 shillings in a day, just selling eggs, then you exclude your expenditure. You will remain with something like maybe 2,600 or 2,700 in a day. How much money is that in a week? And if you're able to sustain this business in a month, how much money is that? And this is not the main hustle that you are doing. We are assuming that you are working an 8 to 5 job, and then now you have people working for, and you can be the 6th person. This means that you hire 5 people and you are the 6th person. So you are doing even 60 crates in a day. So try it out and give us feedback. Of course, there are challenges doing such kind of businesses, but do your due diligence so that you are able to run a business that you are comfortable with and not just about the profits. You know, if you're profit driven, then it means that you can run your business in a way that is not appealing to the clients, because your only target is focusing on the money. But if you have the client's interest at heart, you have people to afford their meals in a better way, and then of course the profit will come. So council fees are near negligible expenses that do not need to discourage you. You are not going to get any permits for this business. You are just having to pay about 20 shillings for every day for every stall. So that could be about 100 shillings. Still, if you deduct it from the profit that we earlier calculated, that is almost negligible. So try this hustle out and be free to give us feedback. If you're someone who's running an egg hustle already, please engage me in the comment section so that I get to know what tricks are you using so that you are able to sell many crates of eggs in a day. And remember that you do not need to rent any space for this hustle. You just need to think outside the box and use some of the tips that I've shared with you so that you see if this is something that you can do, something that you can use to bring relief to your family during such hard times. And who knows, maybe you like the business and keep running with it, whether times are hard or not. Introduce people to the business so that you help people grow even as you grow yourself. And with that, I come to the end of this edition. It was a very wordy edition, but I'm glad that I've done this. Watch out for the other videos that I've done, day 1, day 2, day 3, so that you are able to see what fits your budget. If you are someone who has maybe 2,000 shillings in your pocket, there's always something that you can do. If you have maybe 500 shillings, there's something else that you can do. And keep following this channel so that you are able to see 6 other forms of side hustles that you can do. And of course, it keeps getting interesting, as you've noticed. We started on a low note, and right now we are moving on to ideas that can, you spend more money on capital and you have higher returns. I'm not saying that if you put little capital, you will not have good returns. Even the Mahindi Choma hustle, if you are someone who uses someone who thinks outside the box. You can use the same strategy that I've mentioned about the eggs business so that you are able to bring in more income. And of course, diversify so that you are not the only person who is doing this hustle. It does not mean that you have to sit there yourself. But if you're limited in terms of capital, then you may have to sit and run these businesses yourself. If you are able to afford it, hire people so that they do it for you. It will be easier. You will have time to rest because of course you've worked from morning to evening. But if you do not have any other option, then just work hard at it, because this is the only way that you can get relief. This is the only way that you can get to grow, and trust that there is growth and hope in small businesses. Never be discouraged about running a small business. There is hope that even small things, even these big businesses that you see, someday they were very small businesses, and probably once in a while the owners felt discouraged. Maybe they lost hope along the way. If you talk to these people, you will realize they have a lot of interesting stories. Don't be fooled by what you see. Get to hear sometimes stories from successful people. You realize that they had their own share of struggles, but they never gave up. They kept at it, and eventually you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. With that, I wish you well. Keep grinding, keep grinding, keep grinding.